Welcome to Backer Pause, where creators bravely put up their projects to be judged by others to see if their title, their description, their image, and their video can get through the experience of Backer Pause. What is Backer Pause? Backer Pause is when you suddenly find a reason that you might not pause or you've lost interest in a project. So join us as these campaigns are put through the ringer of the Backer Pause jury and judges. Tune in and tell us if you experience Backer Pause in the comments. Brought to you by comicbookadvocates.com, where the love of comics comes first, and hosted by Mr. Anderson, the comics writer who creates stories that travel the realms of fetish monsters and more, and the more is ever expanding. And for the warning and disclaimer. The views and opinions expressed on this live feed are those of the guests, speakers, and or hosts, and do not necessarily reflect the beliefs, official policies, ethics, or positions of the content providers, advertisers, additional hosts, and or guests, hosting sites, groups, or entities attached to this programming. Viewer discretion is advised. All right, today I bring you something a little different. I bring you Tesla, and we're not talking about the cars. I actually have the creator behind this. Tell us about this, and welcome to the show. Welcome to Backer Pause. Dan is new to this audience, I'm pretty sure. I actually met him through TiK-Tok, believe it or not. So, Dan, take it away. Tell him who you are.
Hey, yeah, my name is Dan Cote. I've been making comics for 30-something years. I lose track because I've been at it for such a long time. But yeah, originally I was I co-created the indie comic called Zen Intergalactic Ninja. I was the co-creator artist, and now I'm going all in. And actually, all of those 30 years, I can't say that I've been a professional comic book creator because it's been more of a hobby because I've always had a day job. At the pandemic, however, I was released from the, I was fired from my job. And now I've got to go all in. And I'm using everything I've ever learned about anything into this new world. And I've always been an experimenter, and I love new things and new tech. And I'm not the master of anything. I just like to experiment, and that's what makes life fun. And so this world, this crowdfunding world and all that is all new to me. And I just am so excited about it because it seems so empowering to and friendly to artists, which, you know, the comic book publishing industry isn't always that friendly. But this is incredibly empowering platform, and it blows my mind. And so, like, you know, I've been a storyteller for 30-something years, like I said, but I see this, you know, platform also as a storytelling medium. And so when I built my campaign, I peppered it with word balloons and entertaining. You know, I wanted it to be entertaining. So I'm kind of hoping that I've accomplished that. That's where things are at. That's where we're at.
And why don't we go ahead and watch that video of yours that you brought to us with no pause, because you're today's judge. Sit back and enjoy. Let's join Nikola Tesla.
Sir, an unidentified floating object surfaced 1 nautical mile from this location.
Space Force Coastal has been deployed.
We suspect this is a Code Blue breach.
Code Blue? It's Tesla.
Do you know how many generations of Jeds have waited for this day? Do you realize how many years my predecessors have waited for this day? Do you know how much of the Jed fortune was spent for this day?
33 generations.
280 years.
And $80 trillion. 2/3 of your family.
Nobody asked you. Space Force leader, do you have a visual on the intruder?
Hi, Commodore. Well, what are you seeing?
Code Blue is in a purple suit, yellow tie, has a finely coiffed mustache, and appears to be riding the back of a turtle. He has a very confident smile. Sir? Your orders, sir?
I don't care if he's riding a golden seahorse. This man is Earth's most dangerous threat. Roll that turtle into bite-sized nuggets for Skrill.
Grill? Huh. Good one. They're really small and...
All right, boys. You heard the boss. On three. 1,
Humanity.
2,
We never learn to see beyond our fears.
3. Well, has the threat been eliminated?
But where there is greed, there is also hope.
Negative, Commodore. The turtle threat appears unaffected.
That was extremely violent.
So awesomely violent.
There now, Dodo. Be still.
Such a tremendous waste of resources. Imagine what they could accomplish if they learned to see beyond their blind ambitions. No matter, my young Martians, it's showtime!
Oh yeah, baby. It's death ray time.
Easy, dear brother. There will be no death there. Pish posh. I will have nothing to do with this.
Spring, your dodo is extremely highly strung. You may want to add some sensitivity regulators to buffer some of those synapses. I anticipate Earth will provide more excitement than any of you could ever expect. I may not be a man of violence, but I'm a man who's always prepared.
Not like the looks of this. Discharging weapons!
Our engine! We're sitting ducks!
Those Blue has deployed some form of laser targeting system, sir.
The death. Space Force leader, change of plans. Take him and his turtle alive.
All
What
right.
do you think, guys?
Hey, welcome back. So talk to us about this. What is this exactly? Is this a graphic novel, a single issue? Is it a double issue? Like, what are we looking at?
This is an introduction. It's a 24-page floppy comic. And that's half the story right there.
I was going to say, is that like half the story then? Is this an ongoing series? Should we be looking for future issues? Is this the beginning of something bigger?
Yes, absolutely. Oh, bigger, way bigger. So the whole concept is that this is the essentially Nikola Tesla of my fantasies, where my story starts the day that Nikola Tesla died in 1940s. And he actually lives another 300 years and is cloned 3 times in that period. And this story is the introduction that occurs in the year 2300, which is near the end of this whole world that I've created, this universe of Nikola Tesla. So I'm starting near the end, and I'm going to actually, there's potential 300 graphic novels that I'm looking at here. So in my lifetime, that is not achievable for me to do. So in this big vision I have, I've created the entire universe, this 300-year universe, and I'm going to want to have other artists like take a year, pick a year, and run with it. So, for instance, like I said, Nikola Tesla has lived for 300 years, and let's say we want to hit Nikola Tesla where he was at in 1977. So you look at a particular world-changing event that happened in 1977, and you create a story in that year. And so that's what my big vision for this is. But I'm working on this series, which is 2300, and it's going to be a series, a story arc that will maybe span 4, 5, or 6 books and be assembled into finally a graphic novel. and then I'll move on to another year. I'm not sure where, probably somewhere in the middle in one of his other cloned states. But meanwhile, like I said, I really want to get a lot of people working on this and have different story arcs going all at the same time. That's the big vision.
So the question, he's a historical figure.
Yep.
How much research do you have to go into? And is there any, like, did you have to worry about anyone owning the rights to Tesla? If memory serves, there weren't any heirs. Is there a Tesla like foundation you had to ask permission for, or was this just open market because there wasn't anyone to contact?
Well, my main partner in this is the chairman and CEO of the Tesla Foundation.
Oh, there we go.
And so he was the one who approached me with this. He was like, "You make comics. I don't know how to make comics. Will you help me with this project?" And when he asked me that, I was no Tesla expert. And I started doing the research and looking into him, and I go, damn, this guy was cool, you know? And so, so we're like really kind of yin and yang in that respect. He's got a solid head and a shoulder, and my head is in the clouds. So I'm just, I asked him, it's like, dude, there's a lot of documentaries on Tesla, there's cameos, there's all this stuff, and I don't want to do that. It's been done. Will you give me carte blanche to just run with this story? And he said, well, yeah, you're the comic book guy. You know how to tell a story. And so I said, okay, our story's going to start on the day that he dies. How's that? And I think he was a little taken aback by that, but he's just let me run with it. And, I have this really wild imagination. So the way that I built this story Bible, if you will, the 300-year story Bible of his entire life is such that it can go in any kind of direction. And that's why it's going to be a really fun ride. But, I want to definitely toss in as much of the true science that, he has resulted from his initial genius. But I also am more concerned about harnessing the heart and soul of what this guy was really about. And he was a huge, he was kind of eccentric, but he was really, really selfless. His agenda was to, help mankind. And there's nothing loftier than that. And I think that is the best kind of hero that you can have. So I really, wanted to, I'm really excited about making this guy a true hero. And so that's really why I'm so excited about working on this type of a series.
And that sounds amazing. I'm a Tesla fan, for the record. I actually knew about him for years. He's the real innovator of most of the technology we're just starting to use now. Edison actually slowed us down due to greed. Tesla would have made the electric car way back in the day, and people don't even realize that. He didn't see oil as a good way to go forward, but he wasn't looking at it as a capitalist. He was looking at it as a scientist. Yeah, because he thought oil was. He said the modern engine uses a lot more of its horsepower, but I believe Tesla said that, like gasoline, you lose half of what's burnt. Like the energy's never fully used. So he was a brilliant man. So when I saw this, I was like, oh yeah, I'm all about Tesla and what he did.
Right. Yeah. And, I'm not afraid of overstepping my bounds with my fantasy of him, because I have so many real true experts, working with me on this. And, like fans like you, I definitely love to hear from you guys. And if I step out of line with the guy's spirit, then you need to let me know, because it's just that I'm a crazy dude with a crazy imagination, and I don't want to stray too far from what he really was, But yeah, what made me really relate to him is that, I have the same I'm far from being a genius, but I have the same attitude of, I know what I'm here for. I know what I'm on this planet to do. I know what I'm good at. And I'm really good at making drawings and art and entertaining and making stories with it. And so, I'm driven like he is, and so I kind of felt like, you know, I related to him in a small kind of way.
I know they just made a movie where it did not go over well because they started adding things to his story. So I know there are people out there who will say it, but I mean, you've got the backup of the foundation, so I'm sure you have a better footing than most people do. Now to get on, we're going to get back to this. I want to talk about that action figure because it looks cool, the statue you got here. But until then, we're going to start playing back pause. You think you're ready for it?
Run that. How do I do that now?
Okay.
What do you expect from me?
The first thing you're going to choose is the next video we're going to watch, based entirely on the name they used. So you ready for that?
Okay. Yeah. Gotcha.
All right. So here we go. Our first selection.
Based on the name.
Yeah. So I'm just going to read the name, and then whatever sticks out at you, that's the one we're going to explore in a minute. So here are the names, and the names for the record are, and we'll show it on your campaign. So the name or the title is the one up here. We're going to call this the name and the title right up top.
Yep,
this is going to be the pitch. That's your static image or your preview image. And then at the very end, you'll be able to pick that based on that. So we're going to go in 3 waves. The first wave is just the title. The second is the pitch. And then the third, you'll be able to pick by looking. And depending on how much time we have, we'll watch different ones. Some of this, like apparently TikTok's going to let 10-minute videos. So we might just start cutting these up and showing all of it. We can't show all the videos because, you know, TikTok and the music and certain, even though it's okay on YouTube, it's not okay on TikTok. I don't understand it. It gives me a migraine, but we'll find a way to make it work. And we'll definitely cut some of this up and show it onto the TikTok audience for you. So here we go. Here are some of the titles you can pick from today. Empowered, Volume 2, an 84-page. Next up, number 2, There's an Alien in My Toilet, all ages. Number 3.
Oh, I like that one already. All ages.
Legacy of the View, number 4. And Boots. Number 5. Lords of Iron, Value Campaign. Number 6, and you're going to know this one, Nikola Tesla Sci-Fi Comics Adventure for all ages. Obviously, we know who that belongs to. Caffeinated Hearts by Jonathan Hedrick and Stefano Cardoselli. And I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing that wrong. I'm not great with the last names sometimes.
Can you say the name again of the book?
Caffeinated Hearts by Jonathan Hedrick and Stefano Cardoselli. That's
sounds romantic.
7. For number 8, we have Marty and Spud, The Castle of the Lost Land. Number 9, we have Echoes of Triumph. And then we're getting down to the last 2 or 3, I believe. Mythica, number 8, A False Sense of Security. And then we have The Elements, Burden of Truth. Blood and Fire, A Samurai Tale, chapter 1 through 3. 1 of 3, I should say. And then The Forbidden Museum, The Lost Temple of Gilgad. So out of all those titles, what made you draw? What drew you in the most?
I get to pick 3, right?
Just one. You get to pick one right now.
Just one. One.
Just on the title. What was the top one?
Yeah, well, there's an alien in my toilet.
Oh, all right. So we're going to watch the video, and we're going to come back out and look at the campaign. So here's the video, and we'll look at everything when we return. Oh, by the way, if you find disinterest in the video, you can raise your hand, and we'll come right back out, and we'll talk about the video. Sound like a plan?
Okay.
All right, so here we go. Just raise your hand. I won't be able to hear you, but I can see you. So here we go. There's an alien in my toilet.
Hey, I'm Samuel. And this is Duty. And this is Duty too. They're both duties. Anyway, I'm the creator of There's an Alien in My Toilet, an all-ages slapstick humor comedy series that everyone in the family can have fun with. I created the series back in 2005. Received a lot of attention. It did about 5 issues, and then I had to leave comics for a while. After 10 years, I decided that Duty and I, we had some unfinished business. So basically, He is tasked with coming to Earth on a secret mission. He's this egocentric, thinks he knows it all alien, and he believes he's the only one capable of this mission. Right? He's so smart, and yet he forgets to refuel, and he crash lands on Earth, and that's where the adventure begins. Duty also encourages education and learning. So if you're a parent or a teacher and you're trying to get the kids inspired to learn and you want to introduce them to something fun, well, every issue of There's an Alien in My Toilet has 4 pages of trivia, word puzzles, and activities that does just that. Not only that, this campaign, we have a limited edition latex doll, a plush doll, we have 6-inch 3D printed figures, we have trading cards and a coloring book and a guidebook, and the story. The story with a lot of heart. We have 6 covers by me, by Masia Genpro, by George Medina. A lot of heart went into this, a lot of passion, and I hope it translates. And if you're here, you're watching this, that means you're curious enough to want to give it a shot. So if you want to laugh and you want to be a kid again and you want to just join us, pledge today. And as a special incentive for you, if you pledge today and you post on social media that you pledged, and you use hashtag I am a Dudester and you tag Catch the Craze, then you will receive an official I am a Dudester sticker. I appreciate you. I'm going to leave you with this animation of Duty as he first gets to Earth. Have a great day. Goodbye.
Nice.
So what did you think of that? And here it is.
I love that. I love that. It's so raw, and I love that his attitude and what his agenda is, and yeah, and everything about it is right on target. It's exactly what they're promising, and it's heartfelt, and that's what I love about indie comics. And of course, aliens. I'm all about aliens. Perfect music for the video. Yeah, it was. I think. Yeah, it was everything I would have expected.
Well, that's great to hear. That's actually the first time I've gotten to watch the whole video, so it was interesting. There was a back end to it. So the other part of this, what we're about to do, is I'm going to read off to you all the pitches. So the pitch for There's an Alien in My Toilet was the Pride of Uranus was sent to Earth on a recon mission. His plan was foolproof until he forgot to refuel. His name, Duty. And then this is the image. So is there anything on here that you would consider a reason not to back the campaign, or you wouldn't have been interested in backing the campaign, or did it all ring well with you?
Everything. I think that this landing image, white on white, doesn't quite pop for me. The font is a little. Yeah, I would make this landing page for the video way simpler somehow, and I'm not sure if where this guy and his toilet interact. So the title's a little bit deceptive in that respect, but it's pretty cool. But as far as we're talking about the pitch thing though, right? Or the overall?
No, we're overall now, because this got
okay.
Because the first one that gets picked gets shown, so we show everything about it. So this gets the top honor because just on that. And I do want to stress to people, and I'll show this in a second, that there's a difference between when we see it on Backer Paws on a computer screen versus what you see on the actual, and I'm getting it on my phone now. I just want to show you because we use Twitter feeds a lot of times to prove a point. And the Twitter feed, it doesn't show when it's smaller anything but the title. So your title really does matter. and is something that can sell a book if you're clever about it. And I had said before we went on that I thought you had hit a home run with both your title, because obviously Tesla, right? Mm-hmm. Everyone who knows who Tesla is, or he should be taught in school, in my opinion, to be honest with you. It was ridiculous. I learned about him on my own later, outside of our education system. So
you get where you get most of the best knowledge. Originally, I think I was just calling the campaign Tesla 2300 Episode 1, and I think that would have been a fail. What do you think?
I think you did better. For the record, let's go up here. You have the thing is Nikola Tesla, sci-fi comic adventure for all ages. I think you call out an audience in that. I think
that was my writer editor partner Victor was the one who said that was what we should do, and I think he called it right. So
he nailed it. On this show we talk about that a lot, and here I'm going to show you. So this is on my actual phone. If you can, I'll put it up on the big screen for a second. Here we go. Notice how it doesn't have anything but that title. That's it. That's all you get on a smaller screen. So smaller screens on phones, you only get to earn a backer with the title and the image. And again, sometimes these images can disappear. We were talking about that off screen as we were warming up for the show, that sometimes for whatever reason, you change the image, you do something, suddenly it's not there. So I do want to quickly talk before we move on to this next contest of wills. What's up with this figure? This awesome looking figure. How can someone get their hands on it? There it is.
Those were hand sculpted, not hand sculpted, but they're one-ups, hand painted, 3D prints about 12 inches. And of course that mustache, that beautiful mustache, is made out of a more pliable material than most of the rest of them. But yeah, we're getting those made basically on demand, one at a time at this point. They're not for mass production.
Well, that looks really cool. So we're going to leave that up on the screen as I read the rest of these.
Pretty great, right?
This time you're going to go off of the pitch. So you won't even know what the title of the book is. This is solely on that next line on a Kickstarter. And we can show you right up here because we have the alien in my toilet. We're going under here. The alien, again, on the toilet had the pride of Uranus, was sent to Earth on a recon mission. His plan was foolproof until he forgot to refuel. His name, Duty. That's going to be enough to get it. That's when I did my kids' book, Cat, Dad, and Supermom. We used the whole, it teaches morals with farts. If you can get something that stops people in their track and makes them consider it, you're already winning. Let's see who else wins right now as we go through the next round. So you ready for it?
Ready.
A superhuman As superhuman powers continue to emerge across the world, we return to three individuals who must face villains and life. That's the first choice. We already went over There's an Alien in My Toilet, so we're going to go on to the next one. Legacy of the View number 4, along with the spin-off series Boots, chapter 1 through 4 of a manga that bends shinobi, voodoo, and mechas. On to the next one. Get the first issue for $10, as well as exciting variant covers. Next comic up, a one-shot slice of life comic book that pairs well with a cup of Java. Next up, a graphic novel by Matt Hansel entitled Marty and Spud, The Castle of the Lost Land. Here we go, another one. The much anticipated Echoes of Triumph number 2 is finally here. Next, we have In the Midst of World War I, a Scottish soldier and a sultry spy fight for their lives against the vampires and demons in this adult fantasy comic. And on to next, Burden of Truth. On to the next, 16th century Japan. Anarchy reigns as war worlds seek power. When Nakae is betrayed, his revenge takes him beyond blood and fire. And finally, we have The Lost. Oh, I'm sorry. Horror Adventure Classic Monster Comic Book. And you could tell, I'm sure, with a couple of those that they're just misses. There are ones that you're just like, that wouldn't do a thing for me. I don't know why it's there, right? Like, you can hear it now. When you start just listening to the title, it shows everyone how important that title is. What did you pick?
Can you repeat number 5 for me before I decide?
Number 5. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, so we're talking about, stop me if I'm wrong, a graphic novel by Matt Hansel. Is that the one you're asking to be repeated?
Say the whole thing. Go ahead.
A graphic novel by Matt Hansel entitled Marty and Spud, The Castle of the Lost Land.
No, not that one. I think the one before it.
Caffeinated Hearts.
That is the one.
Okay.
That is the one. That's my favorite because it's concise and it suggests a tone and a mood and a time and a demographic, and it's without hitting you on the head with a hammer, it does it.
Well, let's take a look at the video. Remember, raise your hand if you experience backer pause.
Coffee. A wonderful elixir consumed every day around the world. This beverage has blended many lives over countless ages.
Good morning.
From simple origins to complex concoctions. Its magical powers are limited only to the amount poured. Now step inside. Let the sweet aroma of freshly ground beans submerge your senses. Have a seat at your favorite table. Your barista will be right with you.
That is fantastic.
What did you like the most about the video?
I was shocked and amazed by the artwork. I was not expecting that, and the narrator was perfect for the concept. It's made me grin. Loved it. It was just. And they're not even telling you what the story is. I don't even think that's the story. I'll bet that's not the story. But it just, it was just charming. And personally, I love coffee. I'm a coffee snob, so I'm all over it. I'm in.
That's interesting. I'm not going to ask him now, but I'll ask him later at one point what the story really was about. We'll see what it was.
But the art is completely worth whatever the story is. I don't even care. It's beautiful artwork. I love the style. I love anybody that has their own style. This is owned. Whoever this is, they're owning it. I love it.
Stefano Cardoselli. And I'm sure I'm getting that wrong, but that is it. All right. So now for the first time ever, you get to go into the Backer Pause showroom and actually see the entire way that this is set up. But before we do that, really quickly, I just want to remind everyone about the power of the dollar. The power of a single dollar. One single dollar can help make dreams come true. Every dollar is a declaration of support and belief. It helps the creators and the teams behind the book. Just $1 helps create new worlds and keeps creators creating. And remember that you guys watching today or whenever you are watching, go to Backer Pause, give at least one project $1, if not all these projects. Remember, their creators working really hard to earn that dollar because $1 can make a difference. I'll tell you, during my campaign, I have supposedly 4,950 friends. Just imagine if every friend donated $1 to your project. That's $4,950. So $1 can move needles. So here we go. Welcome to Backer Pause on actually. Well, we're both on Twitter. For those who don't know, we have a Twitter account, and that's why we use Twitter to get everyone as many places we can. We get you to Twitter, we get you to TikTok, we get you to Facebook, and we get you to comicbookadvocates.com. 4 places, and believe it or not, you're on Instagram too. This one show goes to 5 different places. Make sure to subscribe everywhere you see us. Comicbookadvocates.com, and myself, Mr. Anderson, very charming gentleman that I am. So here we go. We're going to go into it, and now you get to see it all, and that thing keeps popping up because the way I'm going. But here we go. This is all together. You get to pick 3. So I'm just going to scroll. You can look and pick the 3. We have time to see 3 more of these. And then we'll do, if we have time, I'll just pick one that I think deserves some love. So this was the empowered one. This is the superhuman powers continued one. And that's their images up there. We saw the alien in the toilet. This is Boots, which is manga driven. And this is from Specs Thomas, who's a Thompson. Who's a great guy, and I actually enjoyed working with him on a Continuum book, and I love this art right here. And we have, this has got great art, and again, this had some of the worst, like it didn't give anything for that art, and this is a moment where the art can sell a book damn sure easy. And we have this art too. I really like this art on your campaign. Like I said, I think you hit a home run. You guys all came together and you got the name, you got the pitch, and you got the art that goes for it. So this was Caffeinated Hearts. And now notice, remember I showed you that when it's smaller, you can't see the pitch. Now the pitch is here on the bigger screen. So be mindful of where a person's looking at it changes it. I'll be honest, I really hope he's watching the show. I think he needs to update his image really desperately because you are live already on Kickstarter.
Yeah, I gotta know who these guys are, and it doesn't tell that.
I just want
gives you a good style though. Shows you the style.
It reminds me of Dennis the Menace. There we go. Yeah, Echoes of the Train. This is what we've heard about, and that was an easy one because it repeats itself, but doesn't give us anything about the story. So that I think is problematic for the record. This one, oh, I love this one. The art jumps off the page on this right here. This is Mythica. It's got like a metal feeling. It reminds me of DC's Dark Metal. Like this one, and I'm Scottish, so I'm biased. The elements of the Burden of Truth, I'll be honest, this image looks skewed, and that's not a great look when you don't look like you're in the parameters. It looks exciting, though, so I really wish that they would change their image. But again, Burden of Truth, just repeating it, you're not trying here, guys. You really have to try a little harder. You have to impress the judge. He's here. He wants to help you, but you're competing against other people to be on the show. You know, it's like The Voice Public Comics. Blood and Fire, Samurai's Tale. This one looks really cool.
Very classic.
And then Monsters. Who doesn't like Monsters? So out of all the ones you've seen, what are your 3 picks?
All right. Let's see. Definitely, I can pick my own.
You can. We can watch.
Is that bad? Is that bad form?
No, we can watch the video again if you want to.
Oh, we've already seen it, so. But yeah, it's one of my favorites. But Boots has nice style. Lords of Iron. Now that I saw it, that brilliant art, that definitely. And I wrote down empowered because it looks like there's some muscle behind that.
Where is empowered? I think that was up top, right? Yeah, there it
is. It was. Yeah. Boots looks a lot of fun because, again, I love people that have their own style. That's a very distinct style. And, of course, Lords of Iron, that is remarkable. And I love anything mecha. I love mecha things.
All right. So here's Legacy of the View. Now, before we go on to that, I do want to ask, God bless you, Jaxie. I want to ask one more question, at least about this, if not a few more. So you have him set in this future time. We've gone over all that. Is there a common thread? Like, do we get to know how this happened? Is this introduced in this story? Or is this like a Doctor Who moment where he's just there and we have to wait to get it? Like, will the answers be given? Because I assume he's at a point at the end of his time, maybe?
Yeah, but it's still a long ways to the end of his time. But yeah, this is late in his life. The story is meant to carry you and ease you, but it doesn't leave you wondering what the hell is going on here. But you know, like I said, and that's why when I built this thing, I created what I call a story Bible, and I just created the entire 300 years of his life so that I could map it out, sort of like Martin did for Games of Thrones. You know, he just mapped out the entire universe, and then you can go in from that universe. You can go in and micro story all in between. But you know, I definitely don't want to confuse readers and frustrate them with what's going on. So even in the series that entails 1 year, you will have all the answers as to what to expect with the future and the past stories. You know, they all are self-contained, but they all connect. I don't know if I confused you with my explanation or if it clarified it for you.
I watched Doctor Who, so that makes sense to me, but I don't know. Maybe that's just me. I like stories like that. I like not knowing what we're grounded always here. I like the idea that at any point we could have a flashback. That's exciting to me, is that there could be so many flashbacks in a story that we don't know yet, but then I can see it later because it's a flashback or something. It's a timey-wimey thing. So we're going to move on to Legacy of the View. This is my voice. You are going to hear my voice. I'm not talking. I did help. Oh, no, it's not my voice. This one's not my voice. Sometimes I narrate for people. This is his voice, but my video editing. So let me know what you think, because this is actually
Boots.
Yeah, because I know him. He's a great guy. So we saw his video, and he hadn't had any art in it. It was just him talking. I was like, dude, let me have it. Give me like a week, and I'll get you something back. And this is me creating a video just because I liked it. So, tell me what you think.
Hey, it's me, Specs Thompson, back again with another Kickstarter for Legacy of the View. It's the 4th issue and final issue of the story arc, but this time I brought a little extra with me. On this Kickstarter, I will have my spin-off series, Boots, the Girl with Robot Boots, which is a manga that incorporates voodoo, mechas, shinobis, and an awesome story that follows Kitara, aka the Boots, who is Chad's classmate you met back in issue 3. For this Kickstarter, I'm also changing things up. Not only is this campaign for the 4th issue of The View, but you will also get the first 4 chapters of Boots as well. The issues will release quarterly until we get to chapter 5. Starting with chapter 2, each backer will get a chapter every 3 months via email or through the mail, depending on the reward they choose. Who is Legacy of View for? People who enjoy the first 3 issues, as well as fans of music, anime, and martial arts, with a little sprinkle of comedy in there as well. In short, the story of View is about a reluctant hero named Chaz who is trying to balance the life of school and studio life at the same time. On top of that, being the View, George's only hope to defeat the Howl. Now, who is Boots for? Boots is for people who enjoy Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Bleach, A Comic Got Killed, and other anime like that. Boots has a dark tone with some comedic slice-of-life elements in it as well. Boots follows a Haitian-Japanese orphan who is forced to start from the bottom as a common street kid to the top corporate thugs for hire in her own huge empire. Not sure about the Boots? Well, and just at the bottom down here, I have a link to the first chapter. You can view it yourself, tell me what you think. You know, if you like it, you know, click reward and catch the next 4 issues. So, and all in all, I want everybody to help me out, get my spin-off series on and popping, you know, tell this awesome story that I believe never been told before, as well let me complete the Legacy of You story arc, and, you know, make some changes up, you know, and I don't think Chaz gonna like it, but we'll see. Again, it's Specs Thompson. This is the Kickstarter for the Legacy of You, issue 4, as well as the first 4 issues of Boots. I'm out.
What do you think?
Yeah, that's cool. I like it. Very heartfelt, you can tell, and yeah.
One of the most passionate creators about creating that I know, and he is a DJ too, and just an amazing creator. Like, he's one of the guys I've always said to watch. He's going to make waves in this industry.
Yeah. See, that's what I've always felt, that the magic formula for being effective in this medium is to be honest and write about what you know and what you feel and what's in your heart. And a lot of people just chase the tail and do what's trending, and you can tell. You know heartfelt materially when you see it.
Yeah, and we're going to move on to Lords of Iron, and we're going to give them. So we're getting a little later in the program, so I want to watch as many things as I can. So I'm now going to also be hitting pause button when I feel I'm bored of something. I'll give everyone a minute, but if he doesn't hit it in a minute and I'm not entertained, I'm going to bring us back out. So it's double Jeopardy time as I take the role of the judge as well. Are you ready, Dan? Let's see. Let's see what this is about. This is...
I see myself hitting the pause button.
Hello, everybody. This is Preston Poulter here to talk about my comic book, Lords of Iron. This is absolutely a love letter to the great giant robot animes I grew up with as a kid. I also wanted to give it a very hard science edge because, look, I'm tired of kind of space fantasy and really just having each planet be like a little nation on one big planet. I mean, the reality is if they're hundreds of light years away, you can't just talk to them on the telephone, know what I'm saying? But when you're up there in space, look, you already got a pressure suit. That's going to be humanoid shape. Put a bit more thrusters on it, some weapon systems, some armor. What do you got? Big giant robot. In this comic book, I did a Make 100 for RB White cover for Trinity. There's a naughty version of this. Still have a few copies left over. Those are available as add-ons. This campaign offers the main retail cover for only $10 with free shipping. And in addition, I'm very excited to offer my first comic book cover by Scott Harbin. I'm very honored that Scott Harbin, who's a high-profile artist, took an interest in this project. I'm only issuing 100 of the Scott Harbin Lords of Iron cover and 10 in metal. 20.
All right. When it becomes an infomercial, I no longer have patience. And it's nothing against Preston. For my ADHD, I could read all that quicker in the actual campaign. But I will give him such love. Look at these covers. See, I would have wanted to see this. I wanted to know about the story, because this looks like a badass story, doesn't it, Dan?
Yeah, it really does. Yeah, it's very compelling material. Yeah, the pitch was a little car salesman-y, but the artwork holds up. So I would put more emphasis on the artwork and not so much me behind a microphone, perhaps.
Yep, I agree. Tell me the pitch of the story. This looks amazing. This looks beautiful. Definitely check it out, guys. All right, so that got the pause buzz. So we're going to move on to Empowered Volume 2. Again, some fantastic art on this project. Let's give it a look. They got one minute to impress me. You ready, Dan?
Muscular. Yeah.
Let's do it.
Hi everyone, Ed here from SOV Comics. Building a universe of superheroes has been a dream of mine for years. I don't think that it has to be made up of the kind of stories you see in mainstream comics either. I believe that real stories that speak to people are the important thing. With that in mind, I assembled a team of some of the best writers and artists in the business, and we all worked night and day to make these stories a reality. What we created was the Empowered. In this second volume, we follow 3 superhumans who have to live their lives as well as making a hard choice about their new abilities. Do they help others? Or do they do whatever they want with their power? Each of these people has a very different approach to their abilities as well as life, which you can read about below. And if you missed the first volume, don't worry, it's also available from this Kickstarter. Thanks for watching, and thanks again if you choose to support us. If you want to know more, please continue watching for a briefing on each story.
Did you raise your hand?
Yeah.
Okay. What'd you think?
Heard enough. It was what I heard was just enough. If it kept going, then that was too much. From personal experience, I'm pretty sure I know that writers don't work night and day. Artists do.
Well, it depends. I'll argue that an indie writer, a creator-owned project, or a creator-owned writer who's also the producer does work night and day because they might be doing their own lettering. They might be talking to the artist. They might be talking to the colorist. And some of us do editing. I'm sure you wear a couple hats, right, Dan, in the production of your books?
All the hats.
Yeah. So you know what I'm talking about. There are some writers who just wake up, make a script, and go back to sleep. But I know a lot of writers who do, to their credit, run the social media. They're the ones getting out there. You see how I am. I'm all over the place. I'm on social media like it's a job because you have to sometimes to build that brand.
Right. Yeah, it's too much for one person to create and draw and do all that too. It will affect the quality of the work. I wasn't keen on the music that much.
Reminded me sort of Marvel, and I always think that's a mistake to try to sound like someone's already out there, unless you are them.
Yeah, the intro, right?
Yeah, like I don't know. I want to be me. I want to be remembered like Stan Lee, but I want to be remembered for being Rob, not someone like Stan Lee, if that makes sense.
Yeah, never chase the tail. Don't do that.
All right, so we have time for one more before we sign out. My choice for this week, Mythica. I'm going to go with the Scottish heritage on this one. You ready for it?
Let's go.
All right, Mythica.
Welcome, Mythica Maniacs. This is the official launch of Mythica Issue 8. All right, Mythica Maniacs, I've got a lot to show you, but first, I want to share some exciting news about the cover. So for this issue of Mythica, I am super grateful and honored to have award-winning colorist Alex Sinclair on the cover. Alex has worked on hundreds of DC books, including Batman and Justice League with Jim Lee. When Alex agreed to collaborate, I immediately got to work on making a cover worthy of Alex's coloring skills. And I'm pretty proud of how it came out. I gotta say, I was not prepared for the awesomeness that Alex would bring. I love how he went with a blood moon instead of a traditional night sky. This cover is gonna be available as a virgin cover, a regular cover, and a holofoil cover. All right, so last campaign, the most popular cover was, of course, the naughty cover, which means, of course, we are gonna have another one this time. Check it out. This cover features Magnus McDraken and Riley Scott, and the colors are being done by the amazing Chuck Michael Obach, who colored this, and this, and this. Now, continuing on the theme of color.
Okay, so I truly appreciate that they're honoring the team right up front and showing up, but they're going way too slow at it. And I would say that even in my campaign, I think, there's too much information sometimes on the character. You got to keep it brief and smaller chunks. Just that's it. But I really do appreciate that it's the team that's being featured and the talent that's being featured. I do dig that. But it's all about the covers. I mean, okay, so this is episode 2, so probably the followers already know what the story's about, and maybe it's the covers that carry them in, draw them in.
Well, the covers are big on Kickstarter for a lot of these. I do remember
cover variations.
Yeah, the first issue definitely talked more about story, and I'll actually tell Matt about that you pointed out something good. I mean, it says it right here. It's a Mythica's a dark fantasy comic where a kilted Scottish soldier and a seductive super spy band together with unlikely allies to fight monsters and demons as World War I rages on around them. And apparently they're like a special ops team just designed to deal with what's happening that never gets told in history, which I thought was really badass in the first issue. And he kind of leaves, you're right, he doesn't mention that enough. And I think he did lean into the covers just a little too much, because sometimes, especially on his first campaign, he did so well with the alternate covers. I think you go back to what works, and sometimes you forget why it worked. And if you're not careful, you're talking about something that, like you just showed, I don't really know what this is about, and I don't know why the covers are so important, because for you, it's story, not cover. Now, there are a lot of collectors out there, and I get the whole idea of that, but that's a good point. I'll have to tell him about that and see if it doesn't help him. We want to talk about,
I mean, like I said, I like that he's honoring the workers, the people that put all the work in it. I think that's pretty great. But I think it has to come later, after you're drawn into why should I buy this book, not just for the cover. Because I do that. I'll buy a book because of the cover first. I'll be honest, but that's when I'm in a comic book store. So yeah, I could see where he's probably like running on his emotions, like, oh, that's a great cover and I want to buy it because of that.
Mars.
Yeah.
I didn't expect that to actually play. I was trying to move it to see if we could go. So here we are. We're at the end. Really quick. Tell us why people should back Tesla. Tales of Tesla.
Because we're a bunch of people with a lot of integrity, and all of us are very passionate about what we do. Especially, speaking for myself, I would do this anyway. I'm an older guy. I'm like 62, and what I'm doing now, the work that I'm doing now, is all about what kind of legacy I'm going to leave behind. And it's kind of like, it's been like that most of my life, because I've always had a day job, and I've always done this because I love it and I'm passionate about it. And now that I'm out of the working world, it wasn't my choice, but I decided to just go all in, and I really want to be empowered to keep doing that, because I have so many ideas. As a matter of fact, for TeslaComics, I am actually working on 4 different titles for TeslaComics. So beyond this Tales of Tesla series that I'm doing, I got 4 other titles going on. I'm just really raring to go, man. So, I want people to help me and support me, and I'm just looking for eyeballs. So if people can come in at even $1, I just want you there with me on this journey. And yeah, like I said, we all have a lot of integrity. The amount of work that I put into the artwork screams of that. Just the logo alone, I spent weeks building that, and I work hard on the backgrounds because I think that's important. And every detail of this is really, really a labor of love, and just want to be empowered to keep doing that.
All right, and it sounds great. I can't wait till we're talking about those other topics. That's it for us tonight, kids. I thank Dan for being the judge this evening. I thank you all for tuning in. Make sure to share and back one of these projects for $1. Remember, we are off next week, but we will be back for St. Patrick's Day with another backer pause. We'll see you then. And may the luck of Irish be to everyone who's crowdfunding right now. May all of you make as much money as possible, because all these comic book fans are coming to support us. Thank you all for tuning in. We'll see you next week. Last words, Dan, on the way out.
Luck of the Scottish too, right?
Oh yeah, luck of the Scottish. There we go. All right.
I'm French, so luck of the French to everybody too.
Well, on March 17th, you can come kiss this Irishman. All right.
In Florida, we're far apart.
Yeah, Fort Myers. I'll be there. And this weekend, real quick, for those who are watching live and over the next couple of days, I'll be in Fort Myers at a Comic-Con. Come see me there. See you all later.